Okay, so this is the Ableton Live 10 interface. There are two main views which provide different approaches to creative workflow in making music. This one is the session view. If I hit this button up here, it'll take it to the other page, which is the arrangement view. For this tut, we're going to focus mainly on the session view. However, in the next tutorial, you'll get more of an idea on what's happening in the arrangement view. But just briefly, it allows you to operate in a more linear fashion like most other DAWs. So the song plays from left to right, and up here we've got our time bar or ruler. So if I hit tab, that'll take me back to the session view. So this area is a completely different style of workflow. It's pretty unique to Ableton in that it's non-linear, and I'll go into that further on. Great, so there's a few windows that are consistent between the two pages. Over here we've got our help window, which is fantastic for when you're getting started or need a few tips in different areas. If you want a bit more space on your screen, you can hit that X and get rid of it. Down here we've got the info view. So very thoughtfully, Ableton have given us a very dynamic window that allows us to hover our mouse over anything and get a bit of information on its functionality, which is great when you're a rookie or learning new tricks. Over here we have the details view. So this will show us whether we click on a track header or a clip. We're going to get information pertaining to that track or the clip down in the details view, and to toggle between the two, you can just hit Shift Tab, and that will take you between the track and the clip. Up here we've got our control panel, which is pretty similar to most DAWs. Start, stop, record, etc. Over here we've got the global quantization area, which helps with tempo and syncing and that kind of thing. And over here we've got a range of different buttons that allow us to use different methods of programming MIDI, but we'll go into that further down the track. Finally, over here we've got our browser. So this includes all of our sounds and instruments and effects and that kind of thing. A lot are provided by Ableton, but you're also able to add your own and include them in the user library. So we can scroll through this area by simply clicking on the different headings or scrolling up and down with your arrows. And if you're wanting to have a listen to anything to audition it before using it, you can head over to this column here. Great, so if I want to hear what a backbeat room sounds like, I can just click on it, and you'll notice down here the waveform, and as long as I've got this little button blue, I'll be able to audition it. Fantastic. And if I want to stop that, I can just hit my left arrow and that will also stop it. So to load any of these effects into the session view, I can simply click and drag it over and create a new track, or I can double click and that will also create a new track. And then to get an idea of what is in there, we just have a look down at our details view, and that shows us all of the plugins and macros and devices used to create that backbeat room rack. Perfect. So you'll notice that this looks slightly different to traditional DAWs. We've got tracks in the vertical columns and clips in each little cell here. So the plugins that are used on a track will affect all of the clips the same way. If you hit this arrow here, that'll press play to that clip. I can hit spacebar to stop it, and the clip is still in focus. So if I hit spacebar again, that clip will play. Now the only rule here is that you can only launch one clip per track at a time, but besides that I can launch different clips in different tracks on different rows at any time. Just like that. And then to stop it I can either press spacebar and start it again, or up here, or I can stop it over here in the master fader. Perfect. Stopping it over there in the master fader, you'll see that the arrows fade from green, so they're no longer in focus, and if I hit play, nothing will play. Awesome. So all of these clips lead over to the master fader, which means it's a great way to structure your song, because every row will lead into this, and you can have the different sections of the song on different rows and launch them just with one click of the button. So for example, if I want to play the intro, I can get started there and then lead into verse 1. Now something to note here is that all of the clips don't have to be the same length, they can vary in length. The way Ableton gets around making sure it stays in time or in sync is through the global quantization button up here. So this just indicates how long subsequent clips will wait until they start to play to ensure that everything's in sync, and that's consistent with the scenes over here, so that each part of the song will lead into the next and remain in time. Great. So down here we've got the area that looks quite like a mixer. We've got our faders for the tracks, panning. This yellow button here is the activator button, so if that is lit up yellow, it'll perform like a normal track. However, if it's turned off, it acts like a mute button. We've also got the solo button to obviously solo the track. And this button over here is a record enable button, which functions normally like a record enable button. For sends, for things like time-based effects, like an auxiliary send, we've got these knobs here, which send however much signal you'd like to send over to the time-based effects tracks over on your right. So you are able to minimize some of these areas to ensure that you've got the space that you want. This little yellow S button brings out the sends area, and the returns brings out the return tracks or hides them if you need a bit more space. The I/O is obviously the I/O routing, so if you're wanting to play around with that, you need to have it available. Yeah. Excellent. So that, for now, will cover the basic functionality of Session View, and in the next tutorial we'll be getting a little bit more into the arrangement view. Thanks.